We're actually going to start on time. We have a countdown clock that we can all see up here. Just as we're getting started here, I want to ask everyone to please put your cell phones on silent, or I guess on vibrate if you are really obsessive about knowing that you can be in touch. So anyway, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Jane Clarke. I'm the Managing Director of CIMM, the Coalition for Innovative Media Measurement. And I'd like to very warmly welcome you to our third annual Cross-Platform Media Measurement Summit. Now, those of you who are paying close attention may actually know that the title of this event has shifted since last year. It was originally called the Cross-Platform Video Measurement Summit, and we've shifted it here to the Cross-Platform Media Measurement Summit. And this is significant because many of our initiatives go beyond just video. Even though video is obviously very important to us, and you'll be hearing a lot about it, we want to have a broader purview. Now, this is CIMM, basically. CIMM is made up of the member companies. And so most of you know this is a coalition of the buyers and the sellers of media who've come together to try to innovate around improvements in media measurement tools, and particularly in the area of cross-platform measurement. Now, it's important that CIMM is what's globally called a tripartite organization, meaning that we represent the media companies, the media buying agencies, and the advertisers as well. Now, although we partner very closely with research and technology vendors, they are not members of CIMM because CIMM is basically the end users of media measurement. Now, the mission of CIMM is that we collaborate to provide thought leadership. It's basically just a bunch of really smart people in the industry that get together and try to prioritize the measurement tools that we want to develop in the industry that meet our needs. And then we test and fund pilot tests to see if these are working. Now, you can't help but notice, anyone who reads any of the industry trades, that the media and advertising industry has noticed that cross-platform media measurement is more and more important, every year, even as CIMM's been working on making progress over the last 4 years. And I just want to, have a call for even more involvement to encourage more advertisers, everyone around the industry to get involved where it can immediately have an impact, in some of the existing initiatives, the existing organizations. Cross-platform measurement is challenging, and it requires both the specialized technical media research expertise, which often exists more in the media buying agencies and in the media companies. And then it also requires an understanding of the business imperatives, to implement the new solutions, which typically gets driven from the advertisers. And so there's truly a need for these collaborative approaches. What I want to show you is basically, and some of you have seen this, because this is the roadmap that we developed about 4 years ago to address cross-platform measurement. And we're essentially, adapting and still following this today. It follows the needs of advertisers and media companies to develop tools for both planning, buying, and evaluating cross-platform ad campaigns in the context of cross-platform programming content. And CIMM's been working to develop solutions in all of these 3 areas. And so many of the initiatives that you'll hear about on today's program have been funded by CIMM. And in the planning area, you'll hear, we're very happy that you'll hear an update on the media planning, the all media planning service called USA Touchpoints, that CIMM pilot tested a few years ago, which is now back in commercial operation with new ownership and funding from a company called Reality Mine. And Rolf Swinton's here with help from Jim Spey. And also in the middle area, under measurement of unduplicated reach and frequency across platforms, we're very excited in 2014 that we're actually starting to really see some solutions here. CIMM's working on the phase 2 project blueprint pilot test with ComScore, which is a scalable, passive, individual measurement of users and usage across 5 platforms: TV, radio, computer, smartphones, tablets, and 3 media types: video, audio, and text or interactive content. And you'll also hear about other solutions for cross-platform measurement that exist today or are in the planning. And once we have all these new data sources, CIMM is very interested in and starting to spend a little more time focusing on the kinds of metrics that we're going to need to better, identify and align the right kind of metrics that are going to work across platform for both the buyers and the sellers. You'll also hear today about a collaboration between CIMM and the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers, SMPTE, to bind into the essence of the video the open standard metadata from the industry's new content and ad registries. This is probably the most technical, maybe not the most technical presentation of the day, but it's very close. We all know that the ANA and the 4As have an industry mandate now for registration of ads. All the ads that use union talent now have to be registered with Ad ID. And the Entertainment ID Registry, or IDR, is also gaining traction amongst the content companies. And Harold Geller from Ad ID is out here. There's Harold. And right next to him, Don Dolcinos from IDR. So if any of you want to learn more about that during the break, they'll be glad to bring you up to speed. The importance of an open standard for binding registered metadata into the essence of video would not only revolutionize the speed and efficiency with which we receive our media exposure impressions for TV and cross-platform video, but this technology can unlock the potential for all kinds of innovation in advanced advertising applications, such as dynamic ad insertion, and second screen sync apps as well. So we're very much looking forward to that. Now, since CIMM's 2014 investments have been focused primarily in this second bucket on this unduplicated reach and frequency, we won't be reporting this year on as many initiatives in the third bucket here on ad effectiveness and ROI. However, first things first is kind of how we're lining everything up. We don't have unlimited time and funds. However, on our website, you will find a white paper from prior years on best practices in ad effectiveness measurement, and I encourage you to look at that. It's still very valid, as well as results from an innovative study that we conducted last year with Symphony Advanced Media, using a smartphone as a passive tool for measuring exposure to TV, mobile, social media, combined with mobile surveys for measuring brand and ad impact. And purchase consideration. And I think that Charlie Buckwalter and his team from CIMM are here if any of you want to hear more about that. And they've announced recently a really interesting partnership with TRA to try to scale their effort. Now, CIMM's also been encouraging investment in these kind of big data matching solutions for passive and privacy compliant matching of media exposure data across platforms with sales data. These new approaches are now being tested with companies, and many of you are in the room here, such as Rentrack, Kantar, Nielsen Catalina, and the new venture between ComScore and TRA. Now, even if CIMM hasn't invested in any pilot tests yet in this area, we're very interested in it and closely, following it. In another area we haven't done anything in is media mix modeling. And you'll hear today from the Nielsen-funded Council for Research Excellence, the CRE, who will mention a project they conducted last year with Sequent Partners to identify areas for improvement in media mix modeling. And CIMM's very supportive and interested in further testing and development of new solutions in this area, particularly as some of the cross-platform data, exposure data, can then feed better into some of those models. So, the roadmap, Yes, I guess we're moving right on. So the roadmap helps us to make sure that we're covering all these important aspects of cross-platform planning and buying and evaluation. And also, just to give you a few little other highlights on today's program, we've provided some thought leadership in a few new areas. We're going to hear a great panel moderated by Joe Mandisi, the editor-in-chief of Media Post, about how media buying is evolving. He'll have a panel of these media agency data gurus who will highlight all the new uses that the agencies are putting to all these incredible new data sources, and particularly the big data that's fueling kind of this parallel development of automating media buying and planning, you know, through data management platforms and programmatic buying. And so, you know, CIMM's interested in this just as we're working to develop these different cross-platform measurement solutions. You have to be aware of what's happening in the industry and how what we're working on can feed into these other developments. And then finally, at the end of the day, we'll hear from Dave Poltrak, the esteemed Dave Poltrak, who will sum up with where we should all go next. So it's my pleasure to kick us off and get started by introducing Aaron Fetters, Director of Insights and Analytics Solutions Center at Kellogg. And Aaron's going to set the stage by helping us better understand the marketer's omni-media measurement challenge.